to invite the next set of companies. First one is Rajesh Razdan from M Carbon. Rajesh, please come on stage. M Carbon is a leading mobile VAS company delivering context-aware network and consumer applications enabling leading communication service providers like Airtel, Vodafone, Idea, Docomo to create and deliver valuable services for their customers. Congratulations. Second company I would like to call upon is ICANN, Siddharth Goel. ICANN Solution is an IIT Mumbai research spin-off, a software product company focusing on analytics for personalization. Congratulations, Siddharth. Third company I would like to call upon is Rolocule, Anuj Tandon from Rolocule. Rolocule Games creates simple-to-play console quality 3D video games for smartphones and tablets and has more than 1.6 million downloads worldwide. Congratulations, Anuj. Fourth company is Nolarity, Ambarish Gupta. Nolarity make enterprise-hosted telephony application intelligent and reliable and are working with a lot of SMEs to make their workforce more efficient and productive. Congratulations, Ambarish. The last company is Vizuri, Chetan Kulkarni. Please come up on the stage. Vizuri is a digital CRM company with operations in APAC, Europe, and Latin America, which works with leading companies including Virgin Airlines, Expedia, Netshoes, Zozo, Ctrip, Jabong, Jet Airways, and Make My Trip. Congratulations, Chetan. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you. All right, let me start by asking you, Rajesh. You're a leading mobile VAS innovator and a B2B business it is. So, tell us about your offerings. What are the various mobile VAS offerings that you have?
See, I think a little bit before I get into the value-added services or a term that we have coined, I think there is a lot to be said about the analytics which is completely missing, has been missing so far from the industry of value-added services, which is, I mean, if you look at the top operators, let's say India, because we control almost like we have about 800, 900 odd million split across 14 telcos. There is a huge amount of data which gets generated every day, every second as we speak, in calls, SMSs, data, etc. One wave of value-added services was just acquisition and give out services to people without, wondering whether the relevancy or the context was there or not. I think we changed the course when we realized that if you bring relevancy into the whole scenario where you, let's say if I call you and I know how many times if I call you, what kind of data do I generate, location, context, bring all of that into perspective, then we are giving far more a different picture to the end customer. A simple example is, we, for example, from the last year we did TRAI's mandated anti-spam callers of SMSs. We almost power 80% of that, where you are actually blocking somebody and unblocking somebody, where you are actually blocking all the spam callers. So how do you know whether the guy is a spam caller or not? So you have to deep dive into the network. The same example is on the SMS story. The same example is on the data analytics. How do you make the data more relevant for an end user? So some of these offerings are very relevant because it's not about acquisition anymore. It is about usage and retention. That's the most important challenge which the telcos here are facing. And that drives the next level of revenues, which does not really come from a VAS bucket, which actually comes from the other 85% of the bucket in their own lingo, which is the usage and retention, customer experience management. That has been driven by a very solid analytics engine which comes from the network.
All right, you're pretty much a tech company. What is your single biggest challenge? Is getting the right people, the right team a challenge for you?
I mean, India, we do not really have a dearth of people in terms of technology. I don't see that of a challenge. But in the business model that we have embarked upon, I think one of the challenges that there is that if you see, we are talking, people have to lay a lot of trust on us to be able to deep dive into their network, which is the telco. So I think that is a challenge. People are now opening their, sort of networks and letting use the hidden gems, as we call it, to let us use that. So I think people are more opening up to that fact, which it was a pretty closed case of a telco pretty much. But now they are opening up to, basically not just become like a dumb pipe, but become like a smarter pipe. I think that's the challenge, but I think we've seen a lot of traction already, people moving to the other side.
All right. Siddharth, your innovation Mooga helps clients know their customers better. Yeah. So, how does it all work?
Yeah, so I would agree with a lot of points which you've already raised. I was just trying to make a general point before I get into how we help. basically we are in a data revolution. There's so much data being captured, and ultimately these massive consumer-centric businesses like internet, it's not very big today, but in 3-4 years you'll have 500-600 million internet users. Mobile already has it, and telecom carriers are not leveraging it, and they are starting to. We have actually just signed a very big deal with one of the large carriers in India, where we are essentially transforming the whole VAS, to understand user and create the process which is integrated into an operational system. So I think the future of analytics, just to add to this, would actually be operationalizing the analytics, which become part and parcel of a business process, instead of having a siloed analytics, which typically how it works today. And analytics today is actually trying to capture what, where, when, but the minute you actually slice that data from a who dimension, so who's doing what, where, when, you can really come up with some, really interesting, scenarios and view of data which can really be helpful to the end user.
Sure. Talking about coming to your venture, tell us about it.
This is what, we've been trying to actually solve this content discovery problem, and we've come up with, this is an IT-backed, started by a professor, and, he's been working on this for many years, and we finally got some breaks this year. And the idea is to, disrupt analytics the way it's being used, because analytics today is all about data warehousing, dumping it in some other system which then gives you some kind of insight, but how do you act on that insight is not the problem of the analytics. So we're trying to combine analytics insight as well as operationalizing it and trying to create a common framework to do that.
All right, thanks for that. Coming to you, Amrish, you're solving the problem of business leads getting lost over the telephone and unprofessional ways of handling calls. Tell us, how you're helping this make better.
Absolutely. So we Knowlarity started 3 years back in 2009. The telephony penetration had reached 400 million. 40% now people in India had telephone. But what the big problem that the SMEs have is that they have to publish an office phone number on their business card, and that office phone number terminates into a PBX system in their office. And once it terminates there, once it is installed, they never touch it. All the calls are coming there. There's a very wealth of information available there. There might be recording, there might be the logs of last 5 years. There is no intelligence on it. So what Knowlarity does is it provides a hosted PBX system. You come to our product website, Super Receptionist, you provide your email address, and I'll give you a phone number of, let's say, Bangalore. And if anybody calls there, it will say, welcome to ABC Corporation, press 1 for sales, press 2 for marketing, and IVR experience. All the calls being logged in the log. You can have very interesting routing logic where, you route French calls to, one sales guy versus Indian calls from other sales guys. It's a very intelligent hosted PBX system which has allowed a very large number of SMEs in the last 3 years that we have been able to sell, capture the data, the calls that are coming up, record the calls, and start doing business intelligence.
So essentially you're giving them a rented number,
Yeah.
and is there a provision of how they can themselves see and configure?
Absolutely, absolutely. The rented number that they get, let's say the Bangalore number that they would get, they can go and configure it themselves. They can download.
So they have a
logs.
login and a password in.
Yeah, everything, and then they can download the logs. They can have an app where they can see it while they're stuck in the traffic. Full control over their business, all the customer calls that are coming to their call center.
And what are you charging for this?
So it's a SaaS model. So typically a PBX system would cost for a year, somewhere between 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Because it's hosted, there's a huge cost advantage, 18,000 rupees a year. So for 18,000 a year, you pay and use your service, and the service is immediately available. You go to website and you have the number.
All right, great. So Anuj, you're betting big on the gaming industry and quite literally removing boredom, as you told me a while ago. So tell me, you've got 3 gaming IPs. So tell us about the venture, your USP.
Right. So apart from making amazing games, what our USP is that what we do is we pour the quality that you see on the Xboxes and the PS3. We have a specialty that we provide the same graphic quality and the gameplay quality on all our games based on smartphones and tablets. So that's where we concentrate, and we get that quality, and that is backed by our in-house technology. Our game engine is done completely in-house, And that is actually vindicated by the customer reviews that we have got, over 1.6 million downloads worldwide, and 4.5 out of 5-star ratings on the app stores, which is a very tough market to please people. Apart from really creating games, we also have a dedicated research team that is set to release an amazing product very, very soon. So,
And how many products, how many games have you released so far?
so like I said, 3 gaming IPs so far, so that there's also a niche to it. We do racket sports at the moment, and we plan to expand to other genres quite soon. And yeah, that's spanned across actually 8 apps across the app
Okay,
stores. Yeah.
and 8 apps. So what's the revenue model? How are you generating profits currently?
So how we do it is right now we're using the freemium model, whereas we price our apps anyways between $1.99 to $4.99, depending on the either it's for the iPhone or the iPad. And how we generate profits is typically in the digital distribution, it's 70 to 30, 70% for the developers, 30% for the Apple App Store, and that's the way we're going. Yeah.
All
So
right,
we plan to take on to the freemium model very soon. So
Okay.
that's a plan.
Last but not the least, Chetan, you know you're a digital ad platform. Explain to us in a layman's language, how are you helping your clients with your innovation?
Sure. So the way we look at ourselves is we are a digital CRM company, and just taking a step back, 10 to 15 years ago there was this huge CRM revolution, and CRM revolution was about companies unlocking the value of their own data by using it to power their marketing conversations in a one-to-one way. And the end goal was to maximize the lifetime value. So just as an example, in the offline world, you walk into an automotive dealership, so your data gets captured there, you walk out of there, and then there is a life cycle targeting to move you from a prospect to a customer to a happy customer to a kind of new customer for new product by upgrading you, and so on. So we are trying to replicate this exact thing in the digital world. So what we believe is companies are creating tremendous online avenues wherein they're attracting customers, and in the due course a lot of customer interaction data is getting generated. And we essentially help companies use this data to power one-to-one conversations currently on display advertising, but maybe on video and social and mobile in time to come, with the end goal being to maximize the lifetime value of every user who has ever interacted with the brand before. So that's how we essentially help the companies.
So can you give us an example of how you're relating the previous kind of characteristic of a customer to the next one?
Sure. So let's just take Virgin Airlines, who is one of our clients, as an example. Virgin Airlines gets about 6 million unique visitors in Australia on the site. They search for about 100 routes and 100 destinations, so that's about 10,000 combinations, and that's for next 60 days. So 10,000 multiplied by 60 is about 600,000. So there are 600,000 kind of distinct behaviors, and then if you add on top of that, where did they drop off, what city did they come in from, what you're talking about is millions of unique behaviors and data points around that. So what we help, so let's just take an example of someone who searched for, let's say, Sydney to London flight on Virgin Airlines flight, and he dropped off. So what we help Virgin Airlines do is, as this guy drops off and let's say he goes to a Guardian website, he would essentially see a one-to-one dynamic creative on behalf of Virgin Airlines that is specifically kind of focused on the Sydney to London route, the fares, promotions, discounts applicable for that person. And that this happens to millions of users on a one-to-one basis through the platform that we set up for them.
All right, so tell me about the future plans with Vizuri.
Sure. So I would just divide that into 2 parts. Part 1 is geographically. I mean, we have seeded businesses. Many of them are sort of million-dollar monthly businesses, annual businesses in their own way, in countries in Asia Pacific, so Australia, Southeast Asia, China, Japan, Taiwan, parts of Europe, Netherlands, Italy, Spain, Poland, and then we're also in Latin America. So the next challenge for us is to move from a seed stage in these geos to be a substantial brand that is actually kind of known by the companies there. The second challenge for us, or second goal for us, is currently we are just web focused, and mobile and social are 2 app platforms that we look at very seriously.
All right, you know, I believe you also have a plan of roughly reaching to 50 billion impressions by 2013. Are you on the right track?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a very sophisticated ad serving platform which is kind of backed by a strong Hadoop analytics structure at the back end. So as far as infrastructure is concerned, we are ready. And my sales guys also tell me that they're ready to get the clients, so we should be there.
All right, Jason, all the best for your plans. Thank you, gentlemen. It's time for their celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti, for being a wonderful host and anchor. So we'll now start the felicitation ceremony, and we'll request you all to come back later when I call